Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. Objects, I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And Mike, we're going to start off with a guessing game, okay? It's an easy one, hopefully. I'm going to lead you into it, okay? What do you think this episode is the end of something? What do you think it is the end of?
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, actually.
Really?
It's the end of season 3.
Oh, no, we're back in time. We're end of season 5.
Oh, Jesus. Shows you how much I pay attention. All right, at least I got half of it right. It's the end of a season.
Fucking season 3. I'm only laughing because I think we do this in 6-month increments, but I don't know if you would have done
seriously don't fucking pay that much attention. Yes, end of a season. Season of a man's mind.
I don't know why it made me laugh so much, but thank you. We started off, we had about a 30 second what we call pre-show meeting. And right. I said, it's been a hell of it's been a week and I've got a story, and Mike kind of said the same thing. So, yeah. But yeah, that made me laugh. But yeah, anyhow, so I put I don't know, I thought about it too, probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just started looking and set myself a reminder for last week and forgot to tell you, and then, popped up again. I'm like, oh yeah, shit. So the cool part is, so just to remind everyone, I guess these are programming notes. Next week we have Dr. Sarah. So she will be the beginning of season 6, which is kind of fun. Just in general. I mean, she's fun in general, but I think I only posted it once, maybe twice, but our guest, William Moyers, got delayed. He didn't walk away, which
right.
when I got the email, I'm like, emailed Mike. I'm like, yeah, you know what? First of all, it got postponed to October 11th as our recording date. October 12th is going to be release date, which is fine. I mean, we'll get him after the fact. After hopefully he tells his same story to all these other podcasts between now and then we get hopefully something different. But I don't know, it was just one of those that, yeah, like Mike and I were saying, at least they didn't say, Jesus Christ, we listened to these fuckers a couple of times. And, yeah, you don't want to be on there, right?
Right.
But no, I mean his I don't know if I'll call business partner, because I don't know what her role is or who she is, but her name is Kim, the person that I've been working back and forth with. And number one, very nice, very gracious. Actually thanked us for understanding. He had a family commitment or something that came up, and as Mike said, I think you said it right, something about family. You can repeat what you said in the text.
Well, yeah, I'm repeating what someone else said, but yeah, we got sober to be there for our families, kind of first and foremost. I mean, yes, sobriety is the most important thing in our lives and all that good stuff, but after that, to be there for other people. Not just because that selfish self-centeredness shit is over, hopefully, mostly, kind of. Anyway, so yes, so he's got some family commitments, so that's completely acceptable.
Yeah, and I mean, one way or the other, we've had only was it only the one person that dicked us around for what tried to reschedule 3 times. We finally said no, we're done with you.
Yeah.
Little Dicky that we had fun with.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I think we may have had one other person postpone. I know
Mm-hmm.
we've had to postpone a couple of people based on a
Right.
couple of circumstances. One I know was a scheduling mistake, but hey,
Mhm.
shit happens.
Right.
But one way or the other, yeah, we're still going to have him on. We'll continue to promote him as it gets a little bit closer. But I don't know. All in all, I think it'd be having him, as she said, there's still. It's not like they're not going to be promoting the book for a while. So
Right.
that is what it is. But again, more and more I thought about it, I'm like, this is good. Shit happens for a fucking reason, and we're
So
not
I've
going to
heard.
be. Yeah, we're not going to be writing that mix of his just this is what I talk about and everything I get on this
Mm-hmm.
pattern,
Right.
and it's human nature. People get into it, so I don't know. I think hopefully we'll get a more genuine and laid back individual at that time frame. So that's
Or
what I.
not. But either way, we'll still get them. So yes.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say at least that's my thought. I almost said hope, but it's not. But I mean that's my thought. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have a reading that is fitting for a season finale reading?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Just say
Yeah.
yes. Doesn't matter
I
what
have a
it is.
reading. It will be on the season finale, so I guess it's gonna fit.
It's going to be fitting.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I'll grease it up and it'll fit one way or another. Right.
Spit on that thing.
Good God. We're all fucking doomed. Anyway.
That's why I did that. That made me laugh. I got into it only a little bit because it just made me fucking laugh. But other than that, it was fucking stupid. But yeah.
Yes. Anyway. All
Anyhow.
right. So this was from about a week and a half or so ago. I had marked it, and we didn't do a reading last week because we had a wonderful guest. So back to it. Here it is, August 9th. It's from God Grant Me. The problem is not that there are problems. The problem is expecting otherwise and thinking that having problems is a problem. Theodore Rubin. I didn't have time to look him up, so you're going to have to do it. All right. As long as we live and breathe, we'll have problems. They are simply a part of life. We need to get used to that fact and stop getting upset about every problem that comes along. We can use the same process to solve our problems as we use to stay sober. First, we take a good look at the issue and decide how big it really is. Then we decide whether it is something we can handle by ourselves. If we need help, we get it. Then we think through all of the parts of the problem and decide how to fix it. We can talk it over with someone else for feedback. Next, we take action. Sometimes fixing a problem takes time, and we have to have patience. Sometimes it can't be fixed, and we need to learn to live with it. Remember, having problems is just part of life, and overall, life is a lot better than it used to be. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me pay attention and do what I need to do about my problems and then let go. Today's action. Oh, those pesky actions. Today I will make a list of my problems. I will decide if I'm doing the right things to work on them today. Then I will relax and do something fun.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna write down all my shit, and I'm gonna kick my feet up and have some fun.
Yeah.
uh, okay, so usually I like to not always like to, but I a lot of times tend to start at the end of these, and let's do that now. So I don't know. If you had to list out or make a list of problems that you had right now, would you have anything that you would be able to write down?
I mean, sure, of course.
I mean, everyone's got stuff. I just mean anything
Right,
that you think that you
exactly.
have to work on, or
There's clearly, I could use a little more money. There's some personal stuff, nothing important, some stuff that I've gotta let go. And I am, and yeah, there's problems. I'm not gonna get too specific because you fuckers don't need to know. But
none of your fucking business.
yeah, kind of. But I mean, yes, but I mean, overall, yeah, again, life's pretty fucking good, like the reading said, you know. I can focus on my problems, and that's never any good. Um, you know, I again, yeah, look at them, see what I have to do to make them a little bit better, a little less problematic, and you know, and then do those things. But again, don't stress it too much. You know, I learned real early on that, you know, 95% of the shit's going to work itself out. I'm not that important. And yeah, you know, yes, there are things, but you know, overall, for the most part, I try not to focus on them. I focus on the good things, do that little gratitude list at the end of the day, and the problems don't seem quite as bad when I do that. So there you go.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the biggest problem I'm dealing with, and I'll tell my story a little bit later. I don't want to interrupt the reading with it, but
Mm,
that's a thing I'm dealing with right now. But again, nothing huge. But I'll tell the story later. I guess the only other, I had to laugh at the money thing, and I suppose,
mm.
yeah, I could use anyone could use more money.
Yeah.
Because I had a slower month, the last month. So my commission check I just got yesterday was, no, today. I'm sorry. Not overwhelmingly less, but less than it
Hmm.
was last month.
Right.
I'm still fine, but
Right.
I thought about it. I'm like, because I bought new contacts last month, did my car registration. I had a couple of things that really came in handy. The fact that I had, and I'm using finger quotes now, extra
Hmm.
money.
Hmm.
The fact that I had some additional money last month at this time was perfect because I needed it.
Right.
Um, but then, I actually had a meeting with my manager and actually my two managers today, and they were talking to
Hmm.
me a little bit because, again, it's my month isn't horrible, but I didn't come out of the gates again. It's been weird. It's been slow. I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago that I got some of those accounts kicked back at me and stuff like that. And I got a little
Right.
bit new process, and in my head, I'm like, this is going to take me 2 fucking weeks to get back on track. I know it will
Hmm.
because of the number of accounts that came back and it wasn't new processes. I was shown certain ways to do things, not blaming other people, but you kind of get I was given suggestions on how to work things, and was working a certain way, and it turned out to be not necessarily the right way.
Hmm.
But in either way, it is what it is. But now it's been about 2 weeks, and I've got myself back in my group with this stuff. But he's like, you're a little bit behind. He goes, you've got the second largest inventory out of the group of level twos. You need to make sure you hit your goal, this and that. I didn't get a write-up or anything like that, but I
Right.
understand what this meeting was today. I know what
Hmm.
it was.
Hmm.
It's a matter of I've been around management enough. You got to have these verbal things. This was just to get a sit down.
Right.
Bring
Yeah.
it up. He did a side by side with me, which is normal for everyone. But then they did this, and then, if it continues to be problematic, then it is what it is. But here's the thing with this problem, and if I call it a problem is after I get off the phone, I'm like, or the meeting with him. I'm like, okay, I got two choices right now. I can fucking freak out. That doesn't
Hmm.
help.
Hmm.
Um, and I looked at the numbers. I'm like, yeah, they're not great, but they're not horrible. But
Right.
then I same thing I ask myself all the time. Have you been fucking off?
Right.
The answer is no. Have I
Hmm.
been doing everything? And I even said that at a meeting. I'm like, I agree. I said, you help me out. You give me these things. Things are falling into place. This and that. Um, if I had to get off that call and say, oh man, I got to get my shit in gear,
Right.
um, then that's a problem because that
Yeah.
means that I have been doing the things.
Right.
Now, yes, I need to probably, as he always says, maybe be a little bit more diligent on a couple of things. Everyone could be a little bit better at that. Be a little bit more assertive. Everyone could be better at that. Fine tune and hone a couple of things.
Hmm.
But I mean, that all comes with time, and
Yeah.
continuing to do it, practice. So,
Absolutely.
um, it didn't unnerve me or anything like that. I know what I got to do, but I told him one of the last things I said, I'm like, you want me to hit the 25? I need to hit the 25. I
Hmm.
said, I don't go backwards. I don't like going backwards.
Right.
Um, not that I don't, but I'm like, it is what it is. But that's unacceptable to me in a work level because I need to be able to build on things. And I'm like, plus, you know what? I need the fucking money. I didn't say fucking him, but
Hmm.
I'm like, I need the money and I want
Yeah. Right.
it.
Yeah.
So my motivation is there, just like yours is. But
Hmm.
but yeah, the cool part is, and I like that the main thing that I like that you said it before. You talked about dwelling.
Hmm.
Don't sit back and dwell on your problems,
Right.
because cause for sleepless nights and stress and anxiety. And then the more you stress on this shit, the worse it gets. I don't
Yeah.
understand how that happens sometimes, but it
Hmm.
does, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Sometimes you just gotta kick back and put your feet up and have a little fun. Right. The problem's
Right.
still gonna be there. It's fine. But yes, we can't ignore our problems and all that good stuff. But yeah, again, dwelling on it and it is never good. And taking the time off and go, okay, yes, this is a little bit of shit over here, but I got all this good stuff over here. And the little bit of shit will take care of itself. I will take care of it. I will do what I can to take care of it. And again, 95% of it takes care of itself, man.
Well, in a couple of things I wrote down. Well, first of all, in the opening about, expecting otherwise, and the guy was talking about problems, problem this, problem that. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
write down all that, but, basically realizing that we're all going to have problems. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. You don't need to be a fucking sober alcoholic or an active alcoholic,
Right.
just specifically to have problems. Everyone does. So
Mm-hmm.
expecting otherwise is a joke.
Right.
Um, Part of life I wrote down, which goes along with the same part of it. But then the things that I wrote down after that, the first thing I wrote down after that was same process as sobriety,
Mm-hmm.
which I like. In life in general, hopefully, if we're practicing these principles in all our affairs,
Right.
dealing with the problem, we don't necessarily have to sit down and put them through the physical 1 through 12 steps, but we deal with life. We were taught to deal with life the same way we deal with sobriety, right?
Right. Exactly.
And it's one of those things that, like, I know part of it talked about, do you need help, do you need assistance, whatever the case is. But then, thinking through, taking a beat, as they say, or taking a minute and thinking through what the problem is. Number one, is it truly a problem?
Right. Right. Have we built up this shit in our heads? We never do that.
Right. That's why just as I was saying that, it just fucking made me laugh, because yeah, is it really a problem? Is
Mm-hmm.
it? um but then, yeah, if it is, I mean, we are, most of us, that we're relatively intelligent people. We have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to, I wrote down, think through and decide. So you got to think
Right.
through everything, and then you have to decide. You've got to make a fucking decision. But biggest part, we talk about it all the time. I wrote down, take the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
exactly. Yeah, if there's something you can do to fix it, then get off your ass and do what you can to fix it. Right. And another, it's said a couple of times, talk to somebody. Don't
right.
just sit there and try to do it all by yourself, man. Another perspective is hugely important because again, we build this shit up in our heads. Oh my God, this is this horrible problem. And you go talk to somebody and they look at you and you go, really? That's your fucking problem?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, again, yeah, share all the tools that we have for this sobriety shit works for pretty much every problem. And let's face it, our drunkenness and our whatever, I'm trying to think of the right word, our addictions, but, our drunkenness, our highness, your highness.
Hi there.
Hi there. Right. What is fucking problem? And we found a solution to that problem. So if we found a solution to that problem, I think we could probably find solutions to the other problems.
Right. But I mean, that's just the thing, like you said too. And I didn't write that down, but I should have. As far as obviously help from other people, because that is huge. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, two things usually happen when, well, the old saying is, what is a problem shared is a problem cut in half, right? I
Right.
think. Okay.
Yep.
Which I like. I mean, it's again, very simple saying, and it makes sense, and it's a visual type of thing in my head
Mm-hmm.
also. But the thing of it is sometimes when I'm telling somebody that either the story, what happened, or specifically if I think it's a problem or an issue, as I'm saying it out loud, it's just fucking ridiculous. I'm like, this is
Sure.
just, when you got to sit there and tell somebody a story, and so, no, maybe I didn't explain that right. You know what I mean? Is this, and this is why,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just sitting there with a blank face going,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
That's your big problem, huh?
Right.
Okay.
So, sometimes you could just talk yourself out of the problem,
Right.
which is good. But that also goes along with that 10 step, at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk out my shit, if I, because rarely am I in a situation where, you know, uh, if I'm with other people, I don't do my 10 step, in an open room, just,
Right.
I just don't.
I stand in the middle of the room and do it out loud.
I'm going to bed, but I'm going to do my 10 step. You guys just talk amongst yourself. So, so that motherfucker pissed me off today. I did this. No,
Mhm.
but I say this shit out loud, and sometimes it's either reassuring me that I did something correctly, or
Mhm.
reassuring me that I did something incorrectly, or that whatever I'm thinking about, it's not fucking worth it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, sharing that, and if nothing else, even if it's not one of those huge problems, somebody else, can take this diluted, or well, not diluted, this built up thing that we did within our
Mhm.
heads, and they can kind of chop it into little pieces, if nothing else,
Right.
and then we can deal with it.
Mhm.
That's all. That's I think that's part of the deal, or all of the
Yeah.
deal, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But I
So your
mean,
problems aren't that fucking big.
yeah, the last thing that I wrote down was patience and acceptance. The word
Mm.
acceptance wasn't in there, but it talked something about patience, and then something after that. It popped into my head, but about acceptance, which
Right.
we've kind of talked about that through there. Number one, having the patience dealing with or working through a problem, but then I
Mhm.
I think you always say it. That's some sobriety sobriety shit.
Right.
Some serenity prayer shit.
Shit. Yes. It is.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It really boils down to it. That's the great thing about the serenity prayer. I mean, is there something I can do about it? If there isn't, okay, then, and I need to know the goddamn difference between the two things. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. If there's something I can do about it, I better fucking do it. If there isn't anything I can do about it, then I better let it fucking go. And I need to know the difference between the two. Yeah. That's everything.
Yeah, just that fucking acceptance, right?
Yep.
Acceptance and patience, my two nemesises. Nemesis?
Nemesis.
Mama say nemesis? Nemesis. I like that.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna forget that, but I like it. So, but no, I mean, I like that. Other than that, anything else from the reading? I mean, it was a good one, but
Yeah.
anything else?
No, I think that's about it, man.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna have problems. Guess what? You're gonna have problems, and having a problem isn't a problem in itself because
Right.
that's just fucking life.
Yeah, that it is. Just because we get sober, it's not all fucking strawberries and orgasms. I think I heard somebody
That's
say.
right.
And anytime we have a chance to say that,
Hmm.
that's not a problem.
No, it is not.
So, and obviously, again, we had the guest last week. I don't remember if we brought it up the week before, but we're in August now, and obviously, your radio gig is at the end of the month.
Ah,
So,
yes.
I thought about it the other day too, because I want to, obviously, want to do a post on Instagram. But I was kind of this week. I don't know. I had my mind on a couple other things, but kind of waiting to see if you were going to put something up on Facebook. But then
Hmm.
I have a post like I did last year. I could just change the dates on it. We had that nice little black Canva post that I did for you that you liked. But either way, so let everyone know again what we're what we're rambling about.
Well, there's a college radio station here in Cleveland, WJCU. It's the John Carroll University radio station. The university funds about a third of the budget, and the rest is up to the community. I am a sober member of the community today, so I am part of that, and I donate to their causes, and I get the pleasure and yeah, I get to go on the air for a couple hours and play my horrible music, and you have to listen to me because I have a microphone and you have to listen to every goddamn word that I say. Um,
It's mandatory.
that's right. Anyway, yes. So in a couple of weeks, I will be going on the Metal on Metal radio show on WJCU, which is the longest running heavy metal radio show in the world. This is the I want to say third year. God, I should probably look that up. Anyway, uh, well, no, let's see. 1982, so 42nd year. Yeah. Anyway, Bill Peters, great guy, helps community, good dude. Has been doing it since 1982, and yeah, I get to go be a part of that. So that's what's up. That's on August 30th. 7. Well, the show starts at 6:30. I will do the last 2 hours, so I will start at 7:30. Eastern time, WJCU.org. There is an app. It's on TuneIn. Yeah, WJCU.org. You can listen live, stream it there. And if you're here in Cleveland, it's 88.7 FM on your radio dial.
Cool. Yeah, and we're going to be, and like I said, we'll put together something to post on Instagram. But we still have, if anyone forgets the name of the radio station or anything like that, remember our website, Sober Not Mature. Go to our sponsor page. Scroll down. I'm going to move that up. Even if I forget to do that, it's towards the bottom. But you'll see it said Mike's Radio Gig or something like that. You can click right through to the radio station. So
Yep.
it's easy. But yeah, I figured that. Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, it's what day is it today? Oh my God, it's the 15th already. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah. So well, yeah, probably good timing then, because then next week we got Dr. Sarah on, and then that's good. So
yeah,
but,
and the reason I haven't been posting is I'm the last one. As always, Bill always says he saves the best for last. That's right. Stroke my ego. But there are throughout the summer, there are other people that donated and are guest DJs. So I don't want to step on their toes and flood. So I don't start until after the last one has done their shift. Then I'll start promoting mine.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. I didn't realize you waited towards the end like that. But
Yeah.
so your choice. I mean, if you want me to, do you want me to wait till that last week to put it up on Instagram because it'll hit Facebook too? Doesn't matter to me.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Okay. Yeah. Remind me. But cool. Yeah. It just that I have the note on here, so I've been meaning to bring it up. But again, last week obviously we had John on, which by the way, I mean that I don't know. We thank you again. If John, if you happen to for whatever reason you happen to listen to something other than yourself, no, we really did. We appreciated having you on, and I got a hold of Elise at the Sober Curator, and she threw that one up there, and she'll end up throwing Dr. Sarah's episode up there too. But
sure.
And yeah, as a reminder, we're Sober Curators, so thesobercurator.com. We've got a whole page and section, and we got a bunch of shit that we've done on there too. So support the Sober Curator. But yeah, so she's getting a little bit extra play over at the Sober Curator too. So
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So all right. So a couple of quick things. So I finally, I think it was it? I forget what it was now that I finished. Did I tell you I finished Dennis Dunaway's book?
No.
Okay, so I did, and like I said, throughout the entire book, however many hours it was, and over probably a couple of months that I listened to it, with the traveling and stuff. I didn't necessarily. I know I brought up little things here and there to you, but he was just it was just a lot of fun to listen to. It was interesting. Because here's the funny part. I think I knew. Well, I didn't even think I knew a little bit about the band, a little bit about obviously Vince and Alice Cooper and that sort of thing. I learned a hell of a lot more from the time I met you. And I knew who Dennis Dunaway was just because of you. I knew who Blue Coop was just because of you.
Right.
Some of the things I heard throughout that, I'm like, oh yeah, Mike talked about that, this and that, So things that I learned and, throughout there, from you. So it was nice to have that little bit of it, but I wouldn't have needed it. I mean, the story itself, I wasn't necessarily a huge Alice Cooper Group fan. Not that I didn't hate, whatever. I was middle of the road, with the music and whatever, but I didn't know shit about all the stuff they went through and, about the, the breakup and how they broke up and all that stuff and, this and that. And when, I don't know, all the band members and all the shit and, the whole thing with Glenn. That's what I want. Now, again, knew a little bit about him because of you. I know he was dead because of you, because you picture in front of his grave from years ago when you visited that. So, I mean, I know all that stuff. I just didn't know how he died. And I'm like, that was fucking tragic.
Yeah.
And, but the thing of it is throughout it was almost like foreshadowing throughout the entire thing. when they kept talking about, they were talking about Alice's drinking and his drinking. Now
Hmm.
I knew that Alice got sober, so I mean,
Right.
I knew that. Ultimately, I didn't know how or how bad or whatever, but I knew he did and all that stuff. But I didn't know Glenn's story.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, I mean, that final bout, it was pneumonia.
Yeah.
That I
Right.
finally took him out. But I didn't know he was engaged and about to be married.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I mean, he lived a life of one of us,
Hmm.
sober, or people that had, an addiction problem,
Right.
but did years and years and years of fucking horrible abuse
Hmm.
to his body. And then, I mean, they caught up to him and fucked him,
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That'll happen.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, again, not. It was one of those things where I mean, yeah, that's what we do, right? That's what us people do. But
Hmm.
yeah, kind of it sucked a little bit. He finally got his shit together, and again, in this small little town, I can't remember where it was now. Where was he?
It was Iowa,
Oh yeah.
Clariton, Iowa, and it's a little tiny town. That's where he's buried.
Right.
I happened to be in that area and had the time, and I stopped at his grave. Yeah, um, in the middle of fucking winter, man. Uh, yeah, little tiny town in like northeastern Iowa, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, just nothing. Yeah,
Right.
he just ended up there.
Yeah, and it was funny when the whole Iowa thing, and then when they talked about that, I'm like, fuck that, because I remember that, again, some of these memories were coming back from when you shared that shit with me,
Hmm.
some of the stories, but just hearing little things. But then I remember, yeah, I remember the picture. I could picture the picture,
Right.
of you standing in front of that fucking grave. I
Right.
didn't remember it was in the middle of winter, but yeah, it was just I don't know, the book itself, it was good. Same thing as I said, with all these other books that I've listened to, not all of the other books, but you know what I mean, is
Hmm.
that you don't even necessarily have to be into Alice Cooper as a group or any one of the band members.
Right.
If you're kind of into that, hearing a story of somebody living a rock and roll lifestyle from somebody's
Right.
point of view,
Hmm.
that where they, this rags to riches, nothing to something, growth and fun and all the shit that goes on in between it. Listen to the book.
Yeah.
Or read it.
Right.
I'd fall asleep. I can't read anymore for pleasure. I just get too fucking tired. But I love audiobooks. I
Hmm.
enjoy the fuck out of them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
it
A
was
good.
good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, Dennis is a wonderful storyteller.
Right.
So yeah. 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 It's a good book, man. And you like rock and roll or you don't, fucking listen to it. It's a good story. You might learn something.
Yeah, you never know, right? But no, I really did. I really enjoyed it. So
Good.
all right. So a couple of quick things, and we haven't talked since I went up to Marquette, Michigan.
Hmm.
First of all, I'll tell you again, thank you, for suggesting it.
Yes.
And again, because the day after that or whatever it was, I don't remember what it was when I went to a couple of places still in Wisconsin. Wonderful trails and kind of short but difficult type of thing, kind of crawling
Hmm.
into these little places. But I tell you what, two things, and I know you know this, but it kind of blew my mind. So I left really early in the morning, whatever time it was. Not really early, but early-ish.
Hmm.
'Cause it was like an hour and 40 minutes or 45 minutes up there. So I'm, heading into Michigan. I'm driving north, and I think it might have been on the Waze app because I don't think there was a sign on the road that I was on. But all of a sudden it says Eastern Time Zone,
Mm.
and I'm like, what? Wait, what? I mean, it literally it like fucked with my mind because I'm going straight north
Mm.
from the central time zone. I'm
Hmm.
like, how the fuck did I just end up in the eastern time zone? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's when you get into the Upper Peninsula like that, there's like this little corner that goes around Wisconsin, and I think probably maybe into Minnesota, whatever it is over in that area. It's just
Right.
this little curve of the
Yeah.
central time zone.
Well, I hate to disappoint all the flat earthers out there, but the earth is curved.
No, I know, but it's just the way the time zone is drawn, so it kind of like loops up or circles up, like half circles up into
Hmm.
Michigan. But it
Hmm.
fucking blew my mind. I'm like, how the fuck am I in the Eastern time zone? Um, and again, just stupidity. I've never really paid attention, Well, I've never been there.
Right.
So I went up there, and at this park I went to, this Prisk Isle Presque Isle Park.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend it. The only thing is, it's a full fledged marina, picnicky park, walk park,
Mm-hmm.
all this. It's very busy. The swimming area, people jumping off of bluffs and shit like that.
Right.
Busier than I would have liked. When I
Mm-hmm.
go on these hikes and stuff like that, I would rather just either be by myself or be with less people. It's more
Well,
peaceful for
if you
me.
go in January, I'll pretty much guarantee you.
That's a good point. That was in my head as I'm driving around up there. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'd want to be up here in the wintertime. Just and even walking around, because I mean, it was spectacular. It was beautiful. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the other weird part. I told Kathy about it because she knows the guy. So I pull into this park, and the GPS kind of runs you into this thing. I'm like, just end of this road, whatever. I stopped one place at this overlook, and the first thing I looked at, same thing. I'm like, fuck me, because it's just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And get back in my car, and I'm driving down, and then the road is just lined with cars parked.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, where's the fucking parking lot? Because I'm like, where's the parking lot? Where's the entrance to the trail, which usually they call the trailhead, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know where I'm. So I'm like, whatever. All these people are parking. I just pull up. I'm like, I'll fucking figure it out, right? So I pull off the road and I look, and I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm trying to get I had no reception in this area, so I can't pull up my map or anything like that. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll figure it out. Put on my bug spray and whatever, and I'm not even paying attention. And I look to the passenger side of my car, and there's people walking. Literally, the trail just runs along the road. I mean, there's
Right.
trees all along
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but it runs along this whole place. And then I'm like, oh, so you can enter it at any point. And I'm like, oh, you fucking dumbass. I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
So get myself all set, and I walk, through this opening, and I was just about to walk to the edge part to take my first picture and take a peek, and somebody's like, Bill, and I'm like, hmm. And then they like say my last name, and then I'm like, who the fuck is this dude?
Right.
And he's like, this is Jeff, and then says his last name. It's a dude that used to live across the street from me when we lived in Wales when we were in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, in the middle of fucking Marquette, Michigan, right?
Right.
So, two things. I mean, he lives in Ashland, Wisconsin, which I think is around Niagara, where I was staying. Whenever I think he said that, but
Mm-hmm.
him and his wife, he was there with his wife. His kids were a little bit farther ahead. I think he's got teenage kids, or maybe a little
Uh-huh.
older. We're sitting there talking for a minute. First of all, Kathy was friends with him on Facebook. I hadn't been friends with him on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
not for any reason. I just wasn't.
Right.
Not a fucking chance in the world. He could have stood there and said, "Guess who I am," and I would still be there
Right.
because I don't know. I
Right.
don't know who you are. But he recognized me from, he said from Facebook. But at one point, he goes, God, you look the same. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm older, but I've had a lot of people that recognize me from high school. I mean, I was kind of a baby face looking thing, and I'm older now, but
Mm-hmm.
all it is, I'm a little bit thicker and a little bit older, a few more wrinkles. I mean, I
Right.
think you can still pick out the guy in me.
Yeah.
He didn't,
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah, he didn't look the same,
Right.
So, but I had a nice conversation. They're asking, "Oh, what are you doing up here?" So I was telling back and forth, blah blah blah. It didn't come up that I was sober, and I wasn't going to be like, "Hey, by the way,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, the reason I look the same is because I stopped drinking 14 years ago." But no, it was actually really nice, and his wife was really nice, and
Cool.
after we were talking for a minute, and I'm like, "Yeah, I said have a good time, whatever," and she's like, oh my God. She goes, enjoy all your travel and enjoy your life. I said, I just got to say this real quick. I said, I wouldn't be able to do this if I actually had some place to go home to. I said, I have no home. I have no apartment, no mortgage, no rent, no
Right.
utilities. I'm
Mhm.
like, unless I made a ton of freaking money, I said,
Right.
that's the only reason I could do this. But I said, I made that choice when I said I gave up everything. I could go hang with Kathy or, my buddy Mike or do whatever. But I'm like, no, I don't have a home. That's the only reason I can afford to do this shit. Because you could almost see the look on her face. And I wasn't bragging. She was asking questions. I was telling
Sure.
stories, but I didn't want to kind of come across be like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
afford to travel everywhere.
That's
no,
right.
I can't.
No.
I can't. I can't.
You're a hobo riding the rails.
I'm a fucking I'm happily homeless by choice.
Right. You're a
And I'm just-
hobo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just have a car, and I don't have to necessarily ride the rails. That's it.
Right. That's
But, but yeah, it was weird though. I mean, like I said, it just how fucking random,
No
and
doubt.
literally with all those different cars and where I could have parked, and just again
Yeah.
chance,
Hmm.
exact chance. He just happened to look as I was walking through, because he easily could have just been not been paying attention, been looking at the water. He never
Right.
would have saw me. I probably would have been walking behind him for 15 minutes and wouldn't have known.
Hmm. That's cool.
But no, it was so beautiful, and I finally found an area where there weren't that many people, so I was taking pictures and shit over there. But then I went to one other place, which was really nice. I was just like, fuck, man. I was so glad I took the time, and that's why I said I want to thank you again for
Huh.
for mentioning that. And I'm actually doing it, so I'm going to North Carolina this Saturday, and I
Hmm.
had 2 weeks mapped out. And then I messaged the guy and I said, that third week, I said, could you give me the same rate?
Hmm.
So he did. So I just booked the third week today.
Huh.
So I'm going to be down there from this Saturday through September 7th.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the one that's the little cabin on the woods type of thing. And
Hmm.
here's the other. So speaking of driving, I need to get a haircut. And my story that I'll tell in a minute prevented me from getting a haircut on Sunday. So I look for where I'm staying to go get. I just go to Great Clips. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
And the Great Clips is like a fucking hour away, you
Mm.
know? I'm like, God damn it. So I'm like, I got to get my haircut this week before I leave. But then I start looking around. There's a national forest not too far from Franklin, North Carolina, where I got to go get my haircut. So I'm like, fuck it. I got to go drive an hour to get my haircut on Sunday, and I got to go visit some shit.
Nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, once again, your suggestion, and going up there and spending time with the kids when I was up there was great.
Hmm.
It was really wonderful. It
Good.
was a nice area. Again, I wouldn't want to be within. I wouldn't want to be any farther, because I've been in Green Bay. I've been in Eau Claire and Chippewa
Hmm.
Falls in the wintertime. It's
Hmm.
fucking brutal. I
Yep.
wouldn't want to be anywhere in that area in the wintertime. Not a goddamn chance. But that is when you were there, right? Wintertime. Now that I remember.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was, whatever, 7 years old or oh yeah. I mean, I remember, bundling up to walk, whatever it was, probably a quarter of a mile or whatever to, the bus stop or school or whatever the hell I was walking to. Yeah, but I remember it was like, literally 15 below zero, 17 below zero. Yeah, yeah. It was an adventure.
Yeah, and I mean, even as a kid, I remember being a kid in Cleveland. I mean, it
Right.
was the amount of snow that we used to get out there, and all that stuff. And I mean, it's all this stuff is more fun when you're a child, but not when it's
Hmm.
17 below.
No.
Yes, I don't care how young you are, or certainly how old you are. That is no fun. Oh, and the fucking leaves are starting to fall off Kathy's trees here. I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to find some fucking warm ass weather. But no, I mean, I still want to go. I still want to try to find some place in West Virginia for like October, all fall
Yeah,
shit. But I don't
right.
know. We got to figure out holidays and all that stuff too. But that's for another time. But I don't know. But anyhow, I having fun doing that shit still, and being hobo-ish, hobo homeless. I'd be hobo homeless. All right, so I don't know. Fuck it. What do you think? Break time?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. All right. Well, we'll be right back with more. I don't even know. Sober Not Mature right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.sobernotmature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.sobernotmatureshop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And once again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. Alrighty then. Welcome back, everyone. You're like, I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing.
It's, it's been a week. Yep.
Yeah, it has. So do you have a story about your week, or it's just been a week?
It's just been a week. I don't know, man. Yesterday was the 14th, right? Okay, so I'm listening to a podcast. One of the podcasts I listen to, which is like just a normal one. I don't listen to those goddamn sober things like this. Anyway, they were talking about, there was some survey done by some travel something or other, and the worst traffic day, the most dangerous traffic day in the country. They put all these factors together, and apparently it's August 7th. So yeah, I don't know. Right. So yesterday was August 14th, and I went, yeah, it seems about right. Cleveland's about a week behind everybody else, because there was just fucking wrecks everywhere. There was more traffic on the road, more stupidity. Yesterday was just fucking awful. I mean, I'm local now. I don't deal with a lot of stuff, and I was stuck in 4 traffic jams yesterday. I mean, and one of them was horrendous. I actually missed it. I went around it. A friend of mine posted on Facebook yesterday, he was stuck in it for 2.5 hours.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, 480 here in Cleveland. There was a wreck, car turned over, multi-vehicle. They shut it down. Yeah. I mean, it took me an extra 45 minutes to get to where I needed to go, because I went around the fucking thing on surface streets. Yeah, yesterday was just horrendous. Today was a little better, but not much. So
I wonder, August 7th, do you think people are just, trying to okay, it's almost end of summer. Kids are trying to get back to school. Everyone's piling out. I mean, that would make a little bit of sense, but I don't know. Just a weird, seems like a weird day on the calendar to be, that,
Yeah. I, again, don't know, but right. And again, I looked around and went, yeah, we're about a week behind all the cool kids. So,
right. Yeah, that's, and it's been, I've gotten so lucky. Well, even coming back from Wisconsin, and I got, when I was talking to Kimmy, when I told her I was coming down to Ollie's thing, and I'm like, I drove 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And she's like, when we were first setting all that stuff up, when I was going to be up there, she's like, you still have to drive 2 hours. But I'm like, this is 2 hours of northern Wisconsin driving.
Right.
I said, this isn't 2 hours of driving from fucking Indiana through Chicago to Wisconsin. I said, that's painful. And that could change in the blink of an eye, I'm not saying that somebody can't hit a fucking cow or something like that, or somebody piles into a deer. Plenty of I almost hit at least 5 different times in that 3-week period. Almost hit deer.
Nice.
They're fucking everywhere. I wasn't going 2 times. I was once in Michigan, and once I think probably heading back from Appleton. A few of them ran across the road while I was doing 55, 60, whatever.
Right.
But there's a difference. You get around the metropolitan area, just you don't know what's going to fucking have. 480 is a mess. It's always been a mess.
Yep. Yeah,
but
it still is.
Yeah, that's where I worked. That first real job, I had to work out in Rocky River, and
Yep.
almost inadvertently, I would go in. I would leave really early to make sure that I didn't hit that traffic going in, and usually I'd be okay. But
Hmm.
coming back, there was a meeting. That meeting that I used to hit, the Sahara Club
Right. Yeah.
on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Which wasn't that far. And I think the
Right.
meeting started at 5:30. And I mean, I would sometimes literally be walking in like right as the meeting started. It shouldn't take me a fucking half hour to get there,
Right.
from Rocky River.
Hmm.
But yeah, fucking 480s. So, but yeah, so that was your big thing, your traffic nightmare, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Just whatever. It's been a busy week. Oh, there was some other wacky shit too, but it was several days ago, and I'm not going to dwell on the past.
No dwelling, a no
No
dwell zone.
dwelling.
Okay, well I'll tell my quick story too, and I will make this quick. The story itself is pretty basic. So and this started actually last Friday. Um, I had a little bit of almost like a little bit of a soreness on a tooth last Friday.
Uh-huh.
Even when we were recording last Friday night, it was like a little eating pizza last Friday. It was a little gingerly doing it, and it was
Hmm.
just weird. I mean, I'm like, okay, maybe I bit on something wrong, blah blah blah. And then Friday night it got like really bad. I mean, fucking painful. Didn't sleep well on Friday night. Drove back here, but to the point where it's like Friday night, I'm like, I may just need to find a fucking dentist tomorrow morning before I leave when I was up there.
Hmm.
But drove back here. Saturday night was a fucking beast too. And then I had tweaked my, and I do it all the time. My wrists like a carpal tunnel thing, but sometimes I'll tweak them, load my car in and out.
Right.
Doesn't happen every time, but when it does, I'll deal with it for a couple of days. So I'm dealing. I got a sore fucking wrist that's throbbing. My mouth hurts. So Sunday morning, I get up and I'm like, I'm going to try to find a dentist. But long story short, here, the pain. This is worst pain that I've had. I think 10 years ago. That first year I was in Wisconsin, so 11 years ago, I had the same thing happen. Had a tooth issue. This type of pain, and I've had that twice in the last whatever it is, 10, 11 years, and excruciating. And I mean, I do have a high tolerance for pain. I don't complain about it a lot. I hurt myself plenty of times, and
Hmm.
I could deal with it. But on Sunday, I'm calling around, and just as a side note, I don't think there's really anything. Um, I don't think the emergency dental care doesn't exist.
Not really.
Everyone says it does.
Hmm.
Google says it does. Everyone does. Call us.
Oh, it's on the internet, so it must be true.
Yeah, but it's not just one or two people. It's like fucking nobody was
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
So my point there, and the reason I was kind of getting up to this is there was like I was going to call urgent care and see if there's anything what can I do.
Hmm.
And the lady's like, she's like, you can come in. She said, worst case, if it's some sort of an inflammation, she goes, we can give you an antibiotic and we can give you pain medication.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, I said, I've been sober for 14 years, man. I'm like, I can't take can't take pain medication. So it is what it is. I'll wait till tomorrow. So I went and
Right.
saw a dentist on Monday, blah, 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 this and that. So, but the point was that and this is my question. So if I would have been in, we talk about tools and all that stuff we talked about in the reading,
Hmm.
I know for a fact that had I not had the foundation and the time and everything around me, I would have done anything, drank anything, and taken anything to take away that pain.
Sure.
That I know for a fucking fact
Hmm.
because that's how fucking bad it was.
Right.
But the so part of it was like fuck. I mean, when I was if I was drinking, that's what I would have done. I would have just drank enough to numb myself out,
Oh, yeah.
figuring that blackout sleep is better than disruptive sleep. When
Hmm.
you're like I was, like I'd rather be blacked out and get whatever. At least I don't remember it.
Right.
But so my question was, have you, since you've been sober,
Hmm.
ever been, and I'm not saying I didn't want to drink it. It wasn't a fucking trigger for me. If anyone's thinking that I was triggered to drink, it wasn't. It was
Right.
just a point where I realized that if I didn't know, I'd have to talk myself down off a ledge or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
But I knew for a fucking fact if I didn't have the foundation and the tools that I do, I didn't even have to play the tape through because I know it didn't even get to that point.
Hmm.
But have you ever felt like fuck a drink would help, but if I didn't have the tools that would have happened type of thing? Have you ever had that type of pain?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the fucking time. Um no, yeah, shit, a couple years ago, my shoulder was jacked up and I mean I wasn't sleeping. I mean, and this went on for way longer than it should have. Like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. I mean,
Oh
I
wow.
seriously, yeah, I was, I'd sleep for maybe half an hour and then I'd be awake for an hour and I'd sleep for half an hour. I mean, because it hurt so fucking bad. I couldn't sleep. Yeah, oh, of course. Right. Yeah. Drugs would fix this, yeah. Booze would fix this.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't, like you said, didn't even have to play the tape through. It's just, it wasn't a fucking option. I dealt with it, I put topical stuff on it and I was, eating ibuprofen like it was candy and, which helped a little and whatever, and heating pads. And, I got fucking through it, yeah, no, it's yes, Jesus, it's always a fucking option. Stub my toe, it's an option.
Right.
Some idiot cuts me off in traffic, it's a fucking option. But it's not, thankfully. So
Right.
yeah, yes, I've been in physical pain, to the point where, goddamn, yes, something would help, but would it?
Right.
It's temporary, like it always has been and always will be. It's a temporary fix to a fucking temporary problem, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. And then, I know I've talked about it before that in the dentist that I went to see didn't, and I'm not going to, the whole part of the story is unimportant, but,
Mm-hmm.
it was the pain part that I thought I mean, that's the sobriety part of the whole thing. But,
Right.
just the fact that, again, this lady at urgent care, she's like, oh yeah, we do this, we do that, go with pain meds. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know that well enough just because I've
Sure.
been offered, pain
Sure.
meds under certain circumstances and never taken the prescription, thankfully. But,
Right.
so yeah, it's a weird circumstance knowing that, and I'm not saying, well, I do. I see how people relapse and I understand why people relapse.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's the pain is fucking real. It's really uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of where it is on your body. And when you can't do anything to fix it, something that, like you said, even
Yeah.
temporarily will fix it.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, knowing that without any issue whatsoever, without any begging, pleading, I could have gotten a prescription for
Sure.
some sort of fucking pain med plus a bottle of booze.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It wouldn't have been that hard,
Right.
but when I said I know why people relapse is because what we talk about, and please, anyone out there, I'm not patting myself on the back. I've done the work and this is the result that I get. That's just a fucking fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anyone, if you do the amount of work and you do it every day, when these things happen, same thing as Mike was just talking about, we don't have to take that, that considered easy way out.
Right.
And it is. I mean, drinking and using is always an option, just not one that we choose today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One that we
you
don't
know,
have to choose.
Right. But the thing with the relapse part is because, I mean, well, alcohol is available, drugs are available, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
legally if you really want them in that
Sure.
circumstance. But then on top of that, I understand why relapse happens because again, given the circumstance, if I didn't have that and 11 years ago, I was, 3 years sober. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take pain meds. I took a
Right.
lot of, like you said, the words that you used is what I had in my head. Taking ibuprofen like it's candy. I
Yep.
literally went up to Walmart yesterday to buy more
Uh-huh.
because I was going to get, I needed some, I take it every once in a while,
Right.
but, yeah, I went up to Walmart and then they had a 2-pack, buy two and get it for whatever price. I fucking bought the 2-pack. I don't know how
Sure.
many ibuprofen I have now, but I have enough. I have enough. I got enough to get me through.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's the only thing that helps. And the fucked up thing too is then, I'm waking up the whatever night it was. Was it must have been Saturday night. Every hour I was up, literally every
Mm-hmm.
fucking hour.
Right.
And I get up and I'm like, fuck. I go, I think I walked downstairs a couple of nights. I walked downstairs like 2-3 times to get drink a bottle of water. I think I had 3-4 bottles of water overnight. Cause I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. You
Right.
know, it
Yeah.
just, I'm like, I'll
Well,
go
that's
do
just
this.
it.
And
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly. The tools to deal with shit. That's just
right.
it. Right. Or sit there and dwell and oh, this pain is excruciating. Oh, I can't handle it. No, this pain sucks and it hurts and god damn it. But it's not going to kill you. You will get fucking through it.
Right.
Yeah, yes, get up, get a drink of water, walk around, look at something, scroll on your goddamn phone, take your mind off it a little bit. Yes, it still fucking hurts. Yeah, it's so okay.
Right.
So, hurt a little bit. It's a problem. We
Right.
have problems. We will have pain. That's again part of life. Nobody's getting through this thing without any pain, without
Right.
any suffering, it's part of the deal. So accept that and get through it.
Yeah.
You will.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's it. Just that, all said and done. And that's the reason I wanted to bring it up. And I probably would not have brought it up on here had it not been for that, again, that thought I had about, having the tools in place. And,
Mm-hmm.
in same thing as I just said a minute ago, I didn't do anything fucking wonderful. I did the work, I get the results, but there was not even a little bit, there was a lot of gratitude in that, knowing that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to, like we were
Right.
talking about with John, that they told us, we're going to show you why you don't have to drink today.
That's
We're going to
right.
show you why you don't have to take pain pills today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to show you why you don't have to, do something to fuck up, 14 years of sobriety because, your mouth hurts.
My toofer hurts.
Yeah, and my shoulder hurts.
That's right. Oh, I'm in pain. Yeah,
Right.
so what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. For there's people out there that are fucking miserable and going
Mm-hmm.
through grueling pain and
Sure.
probably can't even move without, grimacing or, just
Mm-hmm.
wincing. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But I don't know. Grateful. That's what got out of the whole thing. I was just really goddamn grateful that that I don't have to live that way today.
Right.
So speaking of somebody sober, did you know that Machine Gun Kelly is sober?
Yeah, I've heard.
Really? Okay.
Eh.
So and it just I don't remember where they brought it up. Probably on the morning show I listened to. It was just kind of a
Mm-hmm.
passing comment that he just I think it was a month or so ago. He was in some headline. A couple months. He's a little over a year sober now, which
Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know. And the fact that he's a Cleveland guy, which is the reason
Right.
I wanted to even bring it up. But I don't even know if somebody were playing a Machine Gun Kelly song right now. I wouldn't know.
Not
I,
me neither.
I mean, I
Right.
don't know what type of music does he even sing,
I
play,
I
do.
I believe he started off with like some kind of rap stuff, and I guess he kind of merged into some more rock and rollish stuff. But again, never fucking heard a note of it. Couldn't tell you. I'm old. That's not. It's right. I know it was Machine Gun Kelly Day here in Cleveland, or week, or some shit. He did a bunch of stuff here throughout the first pitch at the Dean's game the other day, and blah blah blah.
Oh, so
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
Okay.
Like this past week. Yeah, it's probably
You
why
know,
he was in the news.
I was going to say that. That's probably why. Yeah, it might have been they might have been talking about a sports thing. So that I guess that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If he did that. So okay, yeah. The only thing I saw before that recently was that all his tattoos on his chest or whatever, he just got like fucking blacked out, but made like a blackout, this big fucking blackout cross. I think if I
Uh-huh.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that looks fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could have done something better than just fucking black it all out. But
Right.
it's his money and his body. So
Yeah, that's right.
you do what you got to do, brother. Okay. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
just didn't know. And again, it was a Cleveland thing, so
Sure.
just figured I would ask. Okay. Here's one. What do you think is your biggest character defect, or at least the one? Allow me to finish, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
or at least the one that requires the most work on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Well,
well, um, I would, I mean, God, that's a fucking complicated one. All kinds of shit. My biggest one. Right. That takes the most work every day. Probably my lack of empathy.
yeah. Okay.
Again, it all boils down to, I believe I read somewhere the root of our troubles is selfishness and self-centeredness. And that is the root of all of my problems. Yeah, but yes, the lack of giving a shit about anybody else. And clearly I'm better at it than I was 14 years ago. And but I still have to work on giving a shit about anyone other than myself. I do, and I'm better, and blah 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 blah. But that's yeah, that's definitely the one I need to work on every day. That is, again, the, the root of our troubles is selfishness and self-centeredness. The root of all my fucking problems is I don't give a shit about anybody but me. And and so yes, that is the one that I work on. It's my biggest one. It's, I would think, all of ours biggest one, and the one I have to be most conscious of every day and work on every day. You know, and all the rest of it stems from that. Again, what is a root? It is the thing that all this other shit grows out of. So yeah, you know, yeah, and it again, it manifests in lots of different ways and lots of different things I need to work on. But yeah, that's boil it down to that. Thanks, Bill and Bob.
You know what? And that's kind of funny because I've never really thought much about the whole empathy thing.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I know maybe that's my problem too. I guess
Right.
yeah, come to think of it, but yeah, I mean, and that is there's no doubt that is one. I mean, I know my number one's always patience, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, patience will lead me into every other problem that I have.
Right.
Lack of patience or any
Mm-hmm.
good thing in my life is because I have patience.
Right.
You know, so for me, that patience is my it's the bottom of the fork in my road.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it is, and depending on what I do, if what I do with that word, and what I do with the word patience, or how it's portrayed, if it's lack of, I'm going to get myself in trouble. I may
Mm-hmm.
not care about people. I may say shit. I may,
Mm.
you know, force something, and all you know, we all know what happens when all that shit happens. But same thing, you know, when I said, you know, I'll never forget, you know, when we were in group, you know, that at the Keating Center. God, probably if it wasn't 10 years ago, it was at least 7 or 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that you told me to tell my story about my daughter. You said, yeah, this is the
Right.
guy, you know, with the story of your daughter. And
Mm-hmm.
you said, you said something along the lines of, you know, so, you know, what did it take when it came to the time? I'm like, it took too long. And you're like, no, no, it took the amount of time that it's supposed to take. And I'm like, God
Right.
damn it. God fucking damn it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, you know, you got to figure that. I mean, so even if it was 10 years ago, you know, still I
Mm-hmm.
was 4 years sober. I should have fucking
Right.
known better. If it was
Mm.
7 or 8, maybe I should have known better more. I don't know, you know,
Right.
but yeah, that is. I don't I have no I didn't even know, like you said, traffic. That gives me I don't want to makes me it doesn't make me nervous. It makes me a little anxious when I hear traffic stories because
Mm.
not because I'm afraid of traffic, but I don't regardless wherever I'm going someplace because I need to be someplace or I
Right.
want to be someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely, and I used to do it every once in a while, but these days I just get too much shit that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
um, Rarely do I just go out for a drive, you know.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, just on the, you know, like wings on the wind or whatever you want to call it. Just, you know, just kind of like blow it along in the wind. I mean, I just don't
Right.
do that. I used to every once in
Mm.
a while,
Mm-hmm.
but anytime. I don't care. I don't I get impatient with that. I get impatient with work. I get impatient with everything, you know.
Sure.
Everything it's got to what's got to happen fucking now, you
Right.
know.
I want what I want, and I want it fucking now.
Right. But the empathy one, you got me now. You got me thinking about that. That's a that's something for me to for me to keep. I need to keep an eye on that. I
Mm.
think is the because I like you said, no doubt in my mind that
Mm-hmm.
I'm better at it. I think I'm
Sure.
fairly decent as being
Yeah.
empathetic
Yeah.
most of the time. You
Right.
know, but it's the when I'm not, I'm fucking horrible at it. Same thing with patience. When I'm not
Mm-hmm.
good at it, it's fucking bad. It's not like
Right.
it's a little bad. It's fucking bad.
Right.
All or nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of ibuprofen, I was dumping ibuprofen in my hand, and it was again. I woke up during the night, and I didn't feel like turning on the light because I'm like, well, if you turn on the light, you're gonna wake up. You know, I don't want to. I don't wake
Right.
myself up.
Mm-hmm.
So my ibuprofen was on the dresser, and I watched over at my. I got an alarm clock that glows a little bit, so I got my
Uh-huh.
hand in front of the alarm clock. I'm trying to figure out the kid thing, so I slide. I got that, and then I wanted to take two, and four fell out. I'm like, well, if two's good, thump. Swear to fucking God, I took all
Of
four because
course.
I'm
Well,
like,
yeah.
they're in my hand.
Right. God wanted me to take four.
Yeah, if God didn't want me to take 4, he wouldn't have allowed 4 to fall into my,
That's
to
right.
my hand. Thank you for co-signing my bullshit. God damn it. See, there's a reason. This is a reason we got together tonight. Thank you.
Right.
Um, all right. So
Delusional goddamn drunks.
yeah, but that's what makes us fun. So
Right.
right. That makes us a great time. All right. So from the 24-hour book,
Uh-huh.
can I see my own happiness reflected in the faces of others? To you, Mike.
Well, thanks, Bill. Can I see my happiness
Yes.
reflected in yeah.
My own happiness reflected in the faces of others. Yes.
Yes. Occasionally. Occasionally when I'm happy. Eh, yes. Yeah, I do. I see it. My granddaughter, my girlfriend. Yeah, sure. I'm things when I'm being good and doing the right thing and being happy as a result of being good and doing the right thing. Yes, I see it reflected in others. They're happy to be around me. Yeah, it's a change.
I was just going to say that's a difference, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, kind of nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it just when I saw that, and again, I don't pick too many of these things out of the 24-hour book, but every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while I get a line in those, and I'm like, I like that, and and it is, but I mean, all of that I think is explained in in one sentence or at least one idea is the fact that I don't know, maybe what we were saying before, we did the work and we get the results,
Right.
we did the
Well,
work for.
again, that happiness, that pleasure, that joy, all that stuff is a byproduct. It's not, right. So, yes, doing the right thing, being a good boy, blah, 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 blah. I get the byproduct of being a little bit happy. And I get to see, because I'm being a good person, these people that are around me get to be around a good person. And so, yeah, yes, that's definitely reflected back at me.
Yeah, it just I know I was thinking the same thing, it is. I mean, we I don't know if again the happiness is a byproduct, but I think the biggest thing is the fact of the happiness that we get to bring to others by not,
Yeah.
in contrast, we're not fucking with people anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and just even when we're even, we're
Right.
being good to people, we're
Yeah.
being better to people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the side note on that, and it just made me think of something. But first of all, as a squirrel moment, as I was kind of scanning my eyes down this list, I wrote down this thing. God, now where did it go? It said, "What do you think about the phrase drinking is not an option anymore?" Which we already talked about inadvertently. So it just made me kind of laugh that I actually have it on my list because somebody said that. There it is. Somebody said that on a podcast. I gotta make sure to take it off my list. But okay,
Drinking's not
so
an option anymore.
right. Well, I mean, it
Right.
is. It's
Well,
always
yeah,
an option,
it's
right?
always an option. Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of a bullshit statement.
Right.
Um, but it's not an option if again we want that byproduct of happiness, which I kind of do, because I'm selfish and self-centered. Yeah. Right. It's always an option, but it's not a necessity anymore, which is really the lovely part of it.
Yeah, it's not something that we don't need. It's thankfully we don't need it to get well. We don't need it to function. We don't need it to, to for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
To be social. We don't need it to get our dance on, get our boogaloo on.
Right.
Yeah, none of that. We don't need it to talk to women. We don't need it to talk to people we're nervous around. Anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. Just
Yeah.
we don't need it. So yeah,
Right. Just don't
but I
talk to him.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I just thought it was funny because when we were talking about it before with the pain, that came up, with
Mm-hmm.
that it's no longer an option, but it is an option. So,
Sure.
um, so my side note on the whole happiness type of thing and bringing happiness to others, and it's I've been thinking about this. This kind of goes along with. And I'm not trying to be morbid about this, but maybe it's fucking morbid. But it
Mm.
goes along, I think, with and we've talked about, the atheism and agnostic stuff and
Mm-hmm.
wondering about what's out there and what's next and
Mm.
is there anything next or
Mm.
if from your standpoint no,
Right.
I don't know, other people think that they float up to this whatever place in the sky,
Right.
so all these different views. But either way, this whole mortality thing and these trips I'm taking and some of the things I'm seeing and whatever, it part of it, I take a lot of pictures, and every once in a while I think I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of fucking pictures. But
Hmm.
I take the pictures for two reasons. I get to see the shit,
Right.
and I mean it's literally I walk up to these places and walk up to these views, and I swear to God, 9 times out of 10 I'm just like, fuck me, I
Right.
mean, and I say it out loud because I'm like,
Hmm.
I can't even believe what I'm fucking looking at.
Right.
It was it's stupid, but it's funny. um but the other thing too is I'm like, okay, so I get joy, I get happiness out of
Hmm.
sharing that with other people.
Sure.
And I get out with, I don't really care, even if people, Instagram's one thing, but I know that we have a lot of friends, that get on Instagram. I know it gets on Facebook,
Hmm.
and some people, it's a lot of pictures. I don't look at everyone's pictures on Instagram or Facebook. Some I do, some I don't.
Right.
But the other thing too is that, if, again, if I live another year, then I get to relive this memory again, next
Right.
year. So I get to
Uh-huh.
provide that. But then I start thinking about it. This is kind of the morbid part of it, the mortality part. It's kind of like, what's the fucking point of life these days? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean, why am I still living, and I've got
Hmm.
nothing. If there is nothing after this, not even that, then what's the point? But I think we talked about this. I think is that I care more about doing things with and for other people these days.
Hmm.
And some of these, like, even though these trips I'm taking, yeah, they're all me and I'm by myself 9 times out of
Sure.
10. And I'm doing it for myself. But, hopefully, I don't know, I got stories to tell people. I could share these things with people, and I can leave shit behind that way. Does that make any fucking sense?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, because that's just kind of like, I don't know, we get to a certain age where it's like, we're not 20 years old anymore. It's
Mm-mm.
like, oh, when I'm 50, I'm going to be able to look back at these all these fucking memories, 30 years
Hmm.
from now. And now I look at 30 years, I'm like, I'm going to hurt like hell if I live to 85.
Hmm.
Speaking of ibuprofen. But yeah, it's just kind of like, part of the, I think part of the purpose, of my life now is, again, I mean, I hopefully being able to bring, do things that bring other people happiness. Yes, they're going
Right.
to bring me some, but
Hmm.
I and again, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling with that, but that's, I don't know, that's kind of what I feel lately. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, whatever gets you through, man. It's yeah, you do what makes you happy. If what makes you happy is making other people happy, then that's pretty fucking good.
Right.
Yeah, nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
And and again, it'd be like I said before, it'd be, some of these trips would be fun to do with other people. I had a great time, like I said, going on those couple of trails with Kimmy and Ollie, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a little trooper, but I mean, that was nice, and doing stuff like that. It's all cool,
Yeah.
But I don't mind doing the shit by myself. I don't mind exploring all these different places, and
Right.
again, these things are, I'm just fucking mind. These pictures do no justice to some of the things I get to
Oh, I
look at
know. Right.
you know, just
Yeah.
none.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some pretty cool shit out there, man. Again,
I know.
focus on it. You can focus on the garbage or focus on the beauty. And hey, let's focus on the beauty because it's better.
Right, right, yeah, and I mean, I tell you what, they say it on the morning show I listen to all the time. Having fun. It takes a lot of fucking work, and it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of driving. I don't care.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I figured out now, I got a pattern. I mean, if I need to get someplace on a Sunday, I will, but it makes me uncomfortable, because I'm like, I got too much shit to kind of organize and get set up, and I need to make sure my work stuff works, and,
Right.
just anything like that, 7 trips to Walmart like I did the last time. All good. No complaints with it. But if I had to do all that on a Sunday when I had to work the next day, it would have stressed me out a little bit. That's
Mm-hmm.
not the point. I don't want to go someplace and be fucking stressed out.
Right.
Fuck that. Fuck
Yes.
that. All right, so I'm going to pick one more here. This is random. Okay. So this is from God Grant Me.
Mm-hmm.
To him or her that is afraid. I don't know why this is making me laugh. Let me start over.
All right.
To him or her that is afraid, everything rustles.
Hmm.
Again, I don't know why that makes me laugh. Russell. It just made me think about something which I'll bring up in a minute. But does that make sense? That everything rustles, or how do you feel about that, or does it even make any sense?
I mean, well, yeah, if you're if you're afraid, everything fucking scares you. Um, and if everything scares you, you're probably going to be afraid most of the time or all of the time. Right. Yeah. So don't be afraid, man. You know, I mean, guess what? Everything rustles anyway. Shit moves. Um,
Hey, what was that? What was that?
right, right, right. Could be a good thing. Could be a puppy dog. Could be a wolf. Um, yeah, and guess what? You're not in control of any of it, so it
Right.
doesn't really matter.
This reminded me of two things. The first thing I thought about, but not a second one. So when Dawn and I first got together, I mean, we were only together probably 6 months at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't even moved in together. She was over at my place, and we were watching Family Guy.
Uh-huh.
And they do obviously the flashbacks, or not the flashbacks. What do they call the
The
side
cutaways.
shots? Cutaway,
Yeah.
cutaway. Yeah, there you go. So whatever it was, Peter said something about a one horse town, and then they do a cutaway to this fucking horse
Mm-hmm.
just standing alone in a town,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do a close up of it, and then also the horse is like, "Oh, what was that?" And he's like, "The wind," and, and Dawn and I are sitting there watching it. She starts giggling and laughing. The two of us, I had recorded it at that. I think I had a DVR at the time frame. I had to actually pause it. We were laughing so fucking hard, and for no reason in the world. But that just reminded me of that. Everything rustles. What's that? Oh, the wind.
The wind.
But the first thing that I thought about, do you remember Larry, water bottle
Yeah.
Larry? Yep,
Yeah.
the leaf.
Yeah. Right.
Do you remember? Do you remember the story? I don't remember exactly how it went. I just remember a leaf being
I
involved.
mean, yeah, he was all cracked out, and a little paranoid, and I believe a leaf was chasing him,
Oh
and
yeah.
he had a problem with it. It was this goddamn leaf that like he just kept seeing and freaking him out, and yeah, right, yeah,
Yeah, he thought he's being chased or followed by
yeah,
somebody,
he's
and
being stalked by a leaf.
it was just a fucking leaf. Didn't he? If I remember correctly, and maybe I'm just making this up, but didn't he take that leaf and like save it, or saved a leaf or something like that? Had it in his car for some
Yeah,
reason. I
yeah,
think I
it seems
remember
like
like,
it,
yeah,
right?
like on
Yeah,
his visor.
overcome that fear, man. I'll take this leaf with me. It'll become my friend.
You know what? I thankfully I never had hallucinations or delusions,
Mm.
as far as I know. But to the best of my knowledge, I never had
Right.
them. But I remember we could have been more than a few weeks sober, a couple weeks sober, maybe, when he's telling us that story, and we're fucking laughing
Mhm.
as he's being and he's a big black dude. Okay, he's a
Mhm.
big fucking mean ass. He's the scared straight dude, right?
Yep.
So this fucking badass meanie was fucking scared of a goddamn leaf.
Yep. Scared of fucking everything. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah. That
Yeah.
right. I don't want to forget that. I was fucking afraid of everything. There's very little I'm afraid of today. Very,
Right.
very little.
Yeah. And I don't, I haven't really thought about that, like ever recently.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I don't, I mean, things will makes me nervous or anxious or
Sure.
whatever. But, I suppose unless I ended up in some really fucking horrible place that I didn't need to be
Right.
accidentally, I felt like I was going to die. Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of anything either that
Mm-mm.
I know of, again, to the best of my knowledge. All right, last quick question for you. It's nothing to do with sobriety.
All right.
Did you ever? And I'm sure you have. You've watched the movie Swingers, haven't you?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nope.
So Vince Vaughn, whatever. Do you know about the movie?
Vaguely.
Okay. And well, that actually surprises me, because you're one that just has ended up seeing like everything,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the older movies. But
Right.
um, listening to a podcast, I can't remember which one he was on, one of the celebrity ones, and they had Vince Vaughn on. He was a fun guest anyhow, but they
Uh-huh.
they were talking a lot about Swingers, and I had watched The Diner in the last few months, because they had someone had Daniel, or I think Mark had Daniel Stern on, didn't he? Did he have?
Yeah.
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 He
Yeah, a
was
few
talking about
months
the
ago.
diner. Yeah, so I went back and I watched that, which was that was okay. Kevin Bacon was in it, blah blah blah, and then Daniel
Yeah,
Stone and a
yeah.
couple other people. But yeah, I watched Swingers. I mean, it was entertaining enough, and it was
Mm-hmm.
free. I didn't have to pay for it, but yeah, they're just all throughout the entire thing. Your money, your money, your money. Everything's money. That was Vince Vaughn's saying. I get
Okay.
so fucking sick of it, saying that no, you're good enough, you're cool, you're this and that, your money, baby, your money, this and all this. I'm like, oh my god, it got to be enough, your money, baby, that sort of thing. So, but I just figured you had seen it, and I was going to say that after watching it,
Mm-hmm.
because I kept watching the movie, I'm like, because I thought I saw it before, and I thought it'd be one of those moments where I'm like, I watched it drunk. And I
Right.
just didn't remember it. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I got through the entire movie. There was none of it. The only line that I recognized was when they were going to Las Vegas, and he's like, "It's Vegas, baby! It's Vegas, baby!" Only reason I know that is they've used that as a like a bumper line on the morning show I listened to.
Ah.
That's the only reason I knew that line. Wasn't
All
because I
right.
watched the movie. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyhow, okay.
Nope.
So
Never
I
seen
just
it.
figured you had seen it. But all right. So let's take a look back. On that note, is this been the season? Yeah, fuck it. No, it's been another episode. That had nothing to do with it. This was the end of season 5.
Right.
It hasn't been spectacular, I don't think.
Hmm.
But if I'll tell you what. Hello, listeners. If you think this episode has been spectacular, email us at info@SoberNotMature.com. Tell us what you think today.
Sure.
Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, we're done. We're done, right?
Yeah. We finished another season.
Yes, we
Whatever
did.
the fuck that means.
It just means we gotta do the same goddamn thing next. I don't know, next week with a different label on it. That's all.
Yes. Right. And
Cool.
we'll have a wonderful guest who's a doctor, and it'll be much better than this.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you didn't like this, fuck you. Show up next week. So
Right.
there you go.
Try again.
All right.
We
Ed,
will.
Exactly. Your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out there and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. Have that happiness be a byproduct of doing the good thing that you did. Now, it is time. Oh boy, is it time. It's time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
The fast ending.
Yep.
Okay. I'll end this off with a guess, since we started with the beginning with a guess. How many fucks do you think we had last week's episode with a guest?
I think it was a little lower. Let's go 72.
Oh, close-ish. 52.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, really low.
Wow, we were on a good behavior.
Well, I don't think he swore at all. He might have sworn a couple of times.
A couple of times. I think he dropped a shit or two in there, and that was about it. Yeah, I know.
dropped the shit or two. Well, he's probably a better human being than us. Which
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a low bar.
It is.
All right, man. Well, you know what, brother? I love you.
I love you too.
And we'll talk soon.
We shall. See y'all next week.
All right, bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.